Attention!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face! Ah!
And we are live.
Are we live?
We are
Why
live.
did we start the recording there? Did it matter?
I
guess
just
it doesn't
started.
matter,
It's
does it?
fine.
Great. Well, here we all are with our new audio equipment. Kind of. It is. Episode one with our headphones.
Well, the
That's
interface, the headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've had a real adventure today. Mick, you want to hop into the intro real quick?
Yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Film Majors Podcast, where the popcorn is our munitions, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
That's goddamn right. Now, I'd like to hop right into what's going on because we've had a lot going on, I feel like, personally in our day.
I've had so much going on.
Yeah, I'd like to share it because if you haven't noticed, our audio is significantly better this episode, and it's because we're recording on real microphones.
Wow.
Wow, that was incredible, guys.
We're just in sync.
Like the band.
You're making me dread the next episode so hard.
It's
What is
going to
the
be
next-
so
no, that's
good. We'll get to it at the end.
Yeah. But yeah, we so for our first episode, we were very kindly gifted 3 free microphones, mic stands, 2 free pop filters, and a free mixer, as well as XLR cables.
They didn't work, but still, hey.
Okay, you're jumping the gun on the mixer. Recording on it, so. And we spent the past, hour and a half troubleshooting that, something like that.
An hour and a half.
Yeah, we made 2 trips to Guitar Center today, but now we are live and we are sounding smooth and buttery.
Let's put that on toast.
Smooth and buttery.
No pastry, no butter, and no sugar.
What the sweet fuck was that?
That is Some Like It Hot.
Yeah.
Tom
Oh,
Curtis
God.
says that.
I didn't
too.
watch all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it before. It's a fantastic film.
it's one of my
your
favorite
loss.
quotes.
Yeah, no, talking about current film news, Some Like It Hot,
Speaking of
directed
Some Like It Hot,
by
yeah.
Billy Wilder.
We're so relevant. I love it. Have you guys seen M by Fritz Lang? It's a new hit. I'm like Robert.
No, what
Eggers,
is that?
too.
Who's in that? Is Tom Holland in that picture?
No, he didn't quite make it. Yeah.
Tom Holland didn't make the cut?
Tom Holland did not make
Son of a bitch. I'm not watching a movie without Tom Holland. He is a beautiful little twink.
What'd you guys watch last night?
What did we watch last night? Zach, what did we watch last night?
Separate from YouTube, because I have love in my life, I went and saw Bodies, Bodies, Bodies with my girlfriend.
Oh, I do love her, but I still have love in my life, so it worked.
What?
What? I say that to you all the time.
That you love me, but
Yeah.
you what?
I still have love in my life. You said we don't have love.
Yeah, you have love in your life.
Yeah.
You
We
have
do
each
have
other.
love in our
Yeah,
life.
he said that you loveless lives.
We're deeply in love.
I wouldn't say
with
deeply.
Elvis.
Yes.
Do not.
Austin Butler, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen. No more. You save it. If you guys can't guess what we're doing next week, I feel like a pretty big hint was just fucking dropped.
Yeah.
Look at man.
No more. All right, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I really liked it.
I
liked
enjoyed
it.
Bodies.
I was surprised by how much I liked that.
I was bothered by different things than I expected to be bothered by. Because when I watched the trailer for Bodies, 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 I was concerned that it was going to play like something written about young people by a middle-aged person who spent half an hour on Twitter. And its rant about her podcast is spectacular. That woman's a goddamn fucking star. Have you guys seen Shiva Baby?
I did.
Oh,
I did
that's
watch
where
Shiva
she's
Baby.
from. I haven't seen that.
That's what I was like,
Okay.
I know her from something.
Shiva Baby fucking bangs. Also,
that was really good. Yeah, I must admit. I
but-
watched that on your recommendation.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
Yeah.
These days. Some of them.
I'm feeling something in this room right now, guys.
Sorry, that's my toe. I'll stop.
But no, the thing that kind of bugged me with Bodies, Bodies, Bodies was honestly the look of the movie. I felt like the repetitive nature of there are just so many shots in that movie that are a completely black background and a face lit up by a phone screen. Brian De Palma said that there's no beauty left in cinema, which, is pretty fucking dramatic, but it is Brian De Palma. So, and why he said that is because he was like, when we were shooting on film, you had to pay a ridiculous amount of attention to how you light a scene, and now with digital cameras, you can just throw a fucking lamp on and the scene's lit. And that's how I felt about a lot of Bodies. It felt like they just were relying on that to, get a shot done quickly. And I think there's a difference between like the beautiful fucking compositions of Roger Deakins and 20, 30 close-ups of someone panicking illuminated by a phone.
Okay, well, the other thing is that, I have a very bad fear of the dark to this day. Like, from childhood to this day. Sometimes it just flares up a little bit. But in Nope, it's shot on film, but like, you really, really get this really nice depth of the darkness. But to be fair, for me, as having somebody who has like naturally like a fear of the dark, it didn't have the exact same effect on me, but I still got a little frightened just because like I'm constantly like, because they're so lit up in their face, I don't know what's going on around them at all, whereas like in Nope, everything's lit so nicely that it's like you're scanning the scene looking for what doesn't belong. It's a different kind of fear, So I didn't mind it too much.
When the moon illuminates the valley, at night when you're actually there, you can't see for miles. And they wanted to recreate that. How they did that was they shot day for night. That's why nighttime stuff looks the way it does on Nope. What you're speaking to, I think, on Bodies, how you can't see what's going on behind them, is all a part of the... I hate to use the word gimmick, but it's a part of the... It's a part of the mood of the film, and that's why I was not bothered by the visuals of the film. I thought it worked for the energy that it had. Yes, obviously depth adds so much to the sense of the scene and the scene itself and the shot. You're saying that they didn't use depth enough.
Yes.
It's just a part of the screen that's being illuminated.
I will counter with, obviously one of our main characters has never been to this house before, and so she's constantly going through different hallways, and it feels like you're lost in a maze.
I can see where you guys are coming from on that, and honestly, it's more of a nitpick. The stuff that I really took away from Bodies is Rachel Sennett's performance.
So
fucking poor Lee Pace. Oh my god, Greg.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Greg.
Lee Pace was so hot.
Rest in peace, Greg. He was really hot.
Yeah, I was like, look at that giant man.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about Bodies. Do we want to talk a little more about what's going on?
Okay, wait. Just the only thing about it is that like it definitely sets up everything for you to feel like the end. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, that tracks. That totally tracks.
Okay, good.
Yes,
that's what I was going to say. I was like, I kept trying to figure out how is this going to end.
Yeah.
What's going to be the cause of all this? And then,
I always love it
so
when like
perfect.
a movie sells something as a fact.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh, okay. That's what was the anomaly in all of this, right? It was really fun.
It's great too because on a rewatch,
kind of like it's kind of like The Gentleman.
Exactly. On a rewatch, you'll watch Bodies, and you're gonna go,
of course,
it goes this way.
Of course, that's what fucking happened.
Yeah.
Please watch it. Watch Bodies in cinemas, please. Thank you. Our places of worship.
Oh yeah, no toxic masculinity. By the way, I think that's my main takeaway from Bodies.
Is that there was no toxic masculinity, or that you shouldn't do it?
That you shouldn't do it.
It's so fun sometimes.
I wouldn't know.
And Mick has taken off his headphones, which was a good choice. Yep. And we're going to move on to some other things that are going on.
What else is going on, Zach?
Leonardo DiCaprio has, unfortunately, his girlfriend has aged out of being his girlfriend. I feel like we don't really need to cover this in great detail.
I think that's just a fact.
Yeah, Twitter's
hit,
not
24 and now she's out.
25,
she's out.
Yeah.
She's out.
She's going to be going on his insurance soon. It's
terrible.
But I think the more important piece of film news is that our beloved Nicole Kidman AMC ad is getting a sequel.
Oh my god.
And I, for one, cannot fucking wait because my mom is coming back. And I'm so glad that she is because I was scared and I didn't know where she was.
You're referring to Nicole Kidman as being your mom?
Yeah, she is my mom. That's
was
correct.
confused there for a
She's
second.
my cinema mom.
That's why her name's Zach Kidman.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I never put that together
Yeah, you
until
never
just
got
now.
that? Yeah.
Wow.
I've been doing an accent this whole time. I'm fucking Australian.
Tom Cruise your dad?
Is Tom Cruise my dad? Oh, fucking shit. Oh, cut. No.
Lost child.
I did not understand the significance of that, what would you call it, an advertisement, until I watched a movie for the first time with Mick at an AMC theater. And I looked over, and you were just fucking crying. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this is doing this for you?
Okay. So first of all, I would just like to say, I have a lot to say about this, actually. One, you called it an advertisement.
Yes.
It's not.
Okay.
It's a short film. It is a short film that brings you into and theater. I'm not going to mention which one because I don't want to get sued. But I feel vindicated because she's absolutely right. Heartbreak does feel good in a place like this. Sound that you can feel. I mean, is that not exactly why we go to the cinema? Is that not perfect?
I hate that you're right.
Because
I don't ever want you to be right.
Yeah, I know. I know that. But yeah, honestly, I love getting my heart broken in the theater. It's so nice.
I want her to hold me.
You want her to hold you?
Yeah. And just
How
tell
tight?
me about the movies.
Your mom?
Yeah. I need her to tell me that it's all going to be okay.
Oh, well, baby, this bit's got a little weird.
No, it's good. No, let's stay in this together.
My nostrils are flaring.
I don't want to hold anyone.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I don't need to be held.
Yes. So we are talking about this because there is now going to be a sequel to that, which is the most amazing thing. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, that cinema that is airing that took it off for a little bit, and people actually protested. Basically, they wanted the internet. Yeah,
I believe that's true. Yeah, I
they
think
protested. Bring it back.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I were going to get like a short film like that, I would want it to be Nicole Kidman.
Absolutely.
Because she is probably one of the first like crushes that I ever had in my life. I mean, I saw Moulin Rouge when I was like maybe like 7 years old, and I think it rewired my brain a little bit. Kate Winslet, she's a redhead in Titanic.
Is she 25 in Titanic? Maybe that's why it had chemistry.
Okay. I think we could still stay in this. I feel good. I feel protected here.
You feel good? You
Yeah.
feel good?
No, I feel good about everything I've said
I'm
so
giving
far.
you a side eye, but
That's
I mean, take
okay.
that as you will.
I take that you want to make eye contact with me to connect with me on a human level.
I mean, that's fair. That's why we go to the movies, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
All right, guys. Are we ready?
Have we covered what's going on, or do we?
There's a lot more going on.
Do we want to
there?
get?
There's
Do we
more
want to
going
jump
on.
into 2019, or do you have something going on?
What
that
else
you'd
is
like to
going
talk
on,
about?
Mickey boy?
Well, one thing I would like to bring up is there is a casting announcement for Craig Gillespie new film. It's going to be a comedy. Craig Gillespie, he directed I, Tonya.
Okay.
And he also directed the new Disney film with
Oh yeah, he directed Cruella.
Cruella, which I heard okay things about. I did not watch it.
Okay.
But yes, he is doing a new movie starring Sebastian Stan, Seth Rogen, Paul Dano, and speaking of bodies,
I
Pete
love
Davidson.
Paul Dano.
So
Paul Dano
that
is a fucking legend.
it's
He
a
is a
comedy
legend.
apparently,
Yeah.
and I have no idea what it's about, but I am sign me up.
Yeah,
Because
I'm down.
Bodies, by the way, was the first Pete Davidson performance I've ever seen. I've seen his stand-up. I've never seen him in a TV show. I've never seen him in a movie. And last night, I was like, okay, what's the whole Pete Davidson about? Okay, I'm in. I like it.
Interesting.
I like
Okay.
him.
I have to
Yeah, I
respect
dug
a
it.
man who can bring Joe Pesci out of retirement once again, because he's got Joe
Yeah.
Pesci for his what is it, Peacock series, which is crazy because Joe Pesci has only ever done one. Thank you, Peacock. He's only ever done one TV show before this, so it's surprising that he's coming out of what's basically been a 25-year retirement with like 3 exceptions to do a Pete Davidson TV show.
I love it when actors retire. I'm doing quotation fingers right here.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Why can't there
Why
be
don't
a
you
noise?
cobble yourself another role, Daniel?
He's cobbling. He has to do it in silence.
Alexis, he's cobbling.
I wish there was like some sort of a sound so that people could know when I'm just shaking my head at you two.
Yeah, it's the sound of a
Because, you
Bud
know, the
Light
lovely
opening.
thing about this is that you guys are both on this side and I'm on this side, so I get to stare directly at you guys. You guys are both looking
Yeah,
at me.
because we get to sit over here and hold hands.
We're holding hands right now. I don't know if you know this.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So, speaking of beating off, 2019 on film.
I mean,
And now it has to stay.
That's fair.
That's true. You said it.
I hate you for that because it's honest.
I just love being among
Because
friends.
2019 was really beating off the film industry. And then
Yeah.
that's, honestly, maybe that's the reason why we
Yeah.
got COVID, because 29 beat off so hard it was just dry for a year.
Yeah, it had that post-nut clarity.
No.
You know, if 2019 was beating off on film, then the climax was the film Cats.
You said earlier, bodies, kind of, it reminded me of Clue, it reminded you of Knives Out. Knives Out was a 2019 film, and we're continuing our 2019 marathon, and one of those films was, that I had not seen before until tonight,
Yeah.
Rocketman.
Yeah.
Are we jumping right into it?
I think we should jump right into it.
Let's
guys.
jump right. I feel like we've got things to say.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Rocketman.
Yes, directed by Dexter Fletcher, who is a contemporary of the filmmaker we talked about last week, Guy Ritchie. Dexter Fletcher was a cast member in Guy Ritchie's first film, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. And he's going to be directing the third film, the Sherlock Holmes series.
Which I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan.
We both are.
And we're all big Sherlock. Are you a big fan of the Sherlock Holmes movies, Alexis?
I'm a medium fan, not as big as you, obviously.
Well, I'll leave that there. And yes, I was nervous about it. I love those films. If it wasn't going to be Guy Ritchie, I was nervous. And when I found out it was going to be Dexter Fletcher, I thought, oh boy, because Sherlock Holmes movies are not just Sherlock Holmes films. They're also Guy Ritchie films.
Anyways, so Rocketman, I saw this movie for the first time when it came out. Zach, did you see it when it came out?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
Okay. I actually do remember you specifically talking about it because you went out of your way to see that movie and also see Bohemian Rhapsody, and you liked Rocketman much better than you liked Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes, and when I was growing up, Queen was like one of the bands that particularly my dad would play in the car. So I feel like I had more of a connection and was more primed to like Bohemian Rhapsody. But I feel like the way that I often pitch Rocketman to people is that it's like Bohemian Rhapsody if it was good. Which is funny because Dexter Fletcher did come in to do reshoots on Bohemian Rhapsody when Bryan Singer had to leave for being a pedophile, allegedly. But, you know.
Just, we have to say pedophile.
I had...
Allegedly, throw it out. I don't care. We know he did that.
Yeah.
But I think that says it all. If they brought Dexter Fletcher in to do the reshoots, doesn't it?
I guess so.
I mean, yeah, it shows that he's far more fucking competent with this material. And, I mean, I think the movie speaks for itself. Both with Fletcher's directing and, you know, not to make it a competition, but between Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody and Taron Egerton in Rocketman, Taron Egerton's doing his own singing, so I feel like we can just leave that there.
I do actually really love, because I think Rocketman is definitely a musical, because when there is more music than there is natural dialogue, usually that's something that you would call a musical. I love when people do their own singing for that. Like, okay, so like specifically, like take Les Miserables that came out in, I don't know, like 2012. I don't even know.
2015.
2015.
Another
I'm
Tom
like,
Ripley classic.
I don't know. I was definitely very hungover when I saw the movie. I had to leave the theater and go throw up in the toilet and then come back and cry for Fontine's song. And it's just like the emotion that you get out of those recordings while they're kind of in the moment and processing that scene. It's really good.
Yeah.
But I really liked. I'll be honest. I don't love the first 10 minutes of Rocketman. It kind of doesn't work for me.
Interesting, because I feel like for me, the spot where Rocketman lags is the spot where basically every biopic about a famous rock and roller lags, which is about halfway through the second act. I'm like, how many times can I see you have a drug-induced freak out?
Yeah. Sometimes it takes me a minute to get in it. And I think Rocketman was just one of those ones where it's like, oh, the first 10 minutes, I'm not completely sold that this is how I would like the story to be told. But as soon as you get to Saturday night and the choreography that they have, which reminded me of the Elvis Comeback Special 68.
Yeah.
Wait until the end to discover what we are talking about next week.
But yeah, no, as soon as you get into that point, 15 minutes in, I'm sold immediately because that was so fun. But I don't know. It's just a little slow going. It also just, I don't know. It's the same thing that you talked about the other day, Mick, where you're talking about how I don't love musicals because then it's just people singing at each other.
Yep, that's pretty much what musicals are, and I don't enjoy them. I have a friend, his name is Benji, and he once put it, the most succinct I've ever heard is, look, I understand you're in a musical and you're expressing your feelings. I just need you to express them differently.
Okay.
That's how I feel about musicals. But I really enjoyed Rocketman, and I will agree it's a musical. There are a lot of dialogue scenes in it that give me what I want. But it's funny to hear that you don't like the opening, because I actually quite did. I like how he bursts into this basically AA meeting in his full-on outfit, and I'm immediately asking myself, okay, this can't be literal. This is already on the opening shot showing me the language of this film, and that he goes through the door and suddenly he's with his younger self having a musical number in his childhood neighborhood. I'm just eyes wide open, soaking it all in, realizing that the film is broadcasting to me, get ready, because we're gonna do this a lot. And I appreciated that. I actually, for the opening shot, I was pretty much into it. I quite liked it.
It's interesting.
Bear in mind that this was my first viewing.
I definitely I think what is it? The kind of the song that they all do together in the house.
I Want Love.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think I just don't love the performance. Maybe is what it is, but I love Gemma Jones though. I love her
great.
part in that song. I think just in general, I really love her as an actress. I've loved her in everything she's ever been in, and I think that she really sells the emotion of her character. And I'm not quite sure that I am as connected to the father or the mother, but maybe that's a choice in the movie. So
yeah.
I do feel like Bryce Dallas Howard is maybe the least human character in the film. She is truly just one
of my notes is that the mother, and that I thought the first time I ever watched it was wow, the mother's really demonized in this movie for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm is she really this bad, or is this just his perception of her?
Mm-hmm.
Really quick, I also just wanted to focus in a little bit more on the aspect of it being a musical. I think the thing that really makes it a musical is both obviously the fact that the songs are not all performed on stage. They're not all performed by Elton John. They are woven into the narrative to express aspects of his emotional state. Mm-hmm. And they truly function like songs in a musical. There's the concept of an I Want song where a character expresses what their deep desire is, or an I Am song where they're talking about who they are. An example of that would be Let It Go from Frozen.
Classic.
And like literally the song I Want Love functions as an I Want song. The movie is all about Elton's need to be loved and to be loved properly, and that sets up his entire character conflict. So I think despite the fact that I kind of agree that some of the performances in that song don't totally click. Again, not to fucking rag on Bryce Dallas Howard, but also like her dad's Ron Howard. She's fine.
She's chilling.
She's been fine.
She's been fine for sure.
I do think that like the function of that song is really effective.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up about how that is his I Want song is I Want Love. Obviously it's in the name, but one line that I wrote down, I remember when it happened in the film, we all kind of looked at each other. That's how you know it's a good line. Elton John said, "Real love is hard to come by, so you find your way without it." And I thought that was really interesting because he's trying to find his way without that love, and he kind of loses his way because of it. And it's not until he actually does have that ending scene where it all comes together, he has his closure, and he actually finds some real love in his life that I really appreciated that about the movie.
Biopics live and die by how much, at least for me, live and die by how much I buy the quote-unquote central relationship in the movie. Like, for example, Walk the Line, I totally buy the relationship between Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon in that movie. I think that they completely sell their chemistry. And I think in that same way, Taron Egerton and Jamie Bell are just like the beating heart of this thing.
Everyone's talking about Taron Egerton's fantastic singing. I want to talk about his fantastic acting.
Oh, yeah.
In that scene, his swallowing of rejection was so genuine, but also a matter of fact. Like, that hurts.
He's just his acting's so reserved, and yet he's saying so much with so little. And I thought that it was most apparent when he was opposite is Kit Harington, right? Or
no, that's the other guy from Game of Thrones.
Oh my god, what's his name?
Hold on, let me pull it up really quick.
Richard Madden.
Richard Madden.
Richard
yeah,
Madden.
That's right.
That's gonna be my second guess.
Okay, Richard Madden. When he was like going opposite of Richard Madden, I do like Richard Madden, but I like Taron Egerton's performance so much better because, I think that maybe Richard Madden's giving a little bit too much in his expressions when he's like kind of saying things, and Taron Egerton is just, it feels really natural.
Yeah,
everything that he's doing.
That was another reason why the opening worked for me because there's a close up of him thinking about what he's going to say, and you can just see it in his eyes, the way he's twitching his eyelids and stuff. Taron, if you're listening, I know you are.
Oh, the long-time listener, first-time caller, Taron Egerton. Taron, how are you doing?
So good.
Hello.
Oh, God.
I'm just so pleased
Shut it down.
that you loved my performance. I was trying to be reserved, was trying to keep me emotions a little bit close to the vest, so I'm just tickled that you guys... And sorry, Taron, that was all the time we had for you. It's Taron Egerton. That's a wonderful get for us. And if
I'm
you
so
keep
glad
listening,
he was able to come on the show in
I
between
take
doing
back
time
everything I said about him.
for what?
Guy Ritchie?
Yeah, he's obviously on a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, I think he's also in
he's-
Peaky Blinders, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe he plays Peaky Blinders in that show. Yeah, no, that's his classic catchphrase. Hello, my name is Peaky
You were
Blinders.
genuine for a good 15 minutes there.
I feel like we were doing good.
We're doing so good.
On that note, I did literally write down Taron Egerton does a great job stuffing down pain.
Yeah.
I think that, in those, particularly in his scenes in AA, he is just like playing so much while saying so,
Every time that we came up to him, in the midst of a crisis, Taron Egerton was still playing it very cool, very, obviously when you're using, in general, you're masking whatever's going on. And so when Bernie comes in this one scene with these two girls into his suite at the house and he's just like drinking, I still was very sold on how reserved he was kind of playing it, of like, of course, like I'm just here, the fun's not missing out on me because the fun's just happening, kind of shit.
Yeah, I think it speaks more to maybe my general issue with music biopics, which is that you don't need to focus on the artist's entire life. Particular moment where I was like, do we need it, is in his marriage. Like, that is over and done with probably in 5 minutes. And I don't know that we necessarily need it. I don't think that it necessarily tells us more about his sort of downward spiral.
I think it does.
I think it does. Like,
yeah,
gay man marrying a woman?
No, it does, because he's spent so much time in the closet, and then
But I think we got that already.
No.
Yeah, in the opening, I think we got it. Like,
no, but you don't get the part that he's this old, and now he's like, oh, this is somebody that I feel a little connected to. Maybe I can make it work.
He's latching onto anything.
Exactly. That's part of the downward spiral, is that he's literally latching onto anything that's going to make him feel good for that moment. And it does, and that's why it feels very sad when they're at that breakfast table, because obviously they live in separate rooms, and then he's drinking so heavily. Yeah. The first thing. I think it breathes there.
I think that
he realizes that, like, this is not what could save him, that there's nothing that can save him that in a relationship.
I think that comes back to my issue with music biopics, though, because I hear what you're saying, and I think that that's important, but I don't think that it has any room to breathe, because it's over and done with so quickly. Like, you don't flesh out that relationship, and I think that's another that's another aspect that we kind of see, that I feel like we touched on when talking about Richard Madden's performance and Bryce Dallas Howard's performance, which is that I feel like in a lot of movies about rock stars, other than the people who are the most central to the story, in this case it's Elton and Bernie, everyone else is very arch, they're very broad, and I think that part of that honestly maybe comes down to the fact that a lot of the time these movies have the involvement of either the artist themselves or the estate of the artist. So you don't get a nuanced look at the story from an outside perspective. You get what the artist or the artist's estate wants them to see. Although I will say that I feel like Rocketman does allow Elton John to look like a lot more of a piece of shit than many of these movies do.
He was so heavily involved with it too.
Yes, and I have to admire him, being...
I think it personally speaks to how important she must have been for him to insist, probably, that she still...
Michael Jordan himself. And people were saying, well, we don't know if we can trust this because it's him telling the story of himself. Like, we should probably get more outside perspectives. And the counterpoint to that, which is, would you agree that's kind of what you're saying? It's kind of like that, where the estate or the artist themselves has their fingers in the jar, therefore they're going to try to paint themselves in a more favorable light.
I wouldn't say it's exactly the same thing, because I think I feel like the difference between Rocketman and The Last Dance is that in The Last Dance you literally have Michael Jordan on screen telling his story in person. It's not an actor, it's him. Yeah. So you kind of already get the sense that he's the person guiding the narrative, whereas with a film made by, ostensibly people who are not the people involved in the story,
I think nice when they get to, in a way, clear the record. No, this is what happened. That's all I gotta say. That's why I personally don't mind it when the estate or the artist is involved with it. In a way, I almost prefer that.
I think one of your complaints originally about Bohemian Rhapsody was the way that,
Oh my God, the way that Queen portrays themselves. Can I chat about this a little bit?
Well, that's what I'm saying though, is that like that's a complaint that you had about that, and obviously Freddie Mercury isn't here to be able to have any sort of rights to telling his own story, and therefore people are telling his story for him, and yet you're still having a complaint that Elton John gets to, tell his story in a certain way, kind of.
I think that there's a level of, like, doubt that brews in my mind when you have a movie like this where the characters who are not Elton and Bernie are sort of so, for lack of a better word, arch. I think that that's the thing that always sort of takes me out of it, is like, these are clearly people that they do not like, most probably for good reason, but like, they are people with interiority and with, desires and dreams, and I feel like I don't get a sense of that so much from a movie like Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, his mom is, for lack of a better word, just a wicked bitch. I mean, she is just so evil on such a deep level, and it's strange to watch. And I will again say that I refer to this movie as better Bohemian Rhapsody because Elton John does portray himself as a person who's flawed, a person who hurts the people around him, whereas in something like Bohemian Rhapsody, there's the scene where Freddie Mercury is having his drugs party, and the members of the band are invited to stay, and they go, "No, Fred, we have families, and we have band practice in the morning." And I'm like, fuck right off. You know that you were getting absolutely hammered and drugged out of your mind at these parties with Freddie Mercury and cheating on your wives like every other rock star ever did. Don't lie to me. Don't bullshit me.
Go ahead, Mick.
Oh, I would say then I have not seen Bohemian Rhapsody yet.
Don't.
So it sounds like that is an exception where that is the wrong people had their influence over the final product.
Specifically, what I'm saying is that when I watch something like Rocketman, and I know that Elton John himself has had his hands in the story, to me, and especially because the story is about addiction, this all doesn't matter to me, because I understand that when you've been in a place where you've had trauma, when you've been in a place where you've been hurting, the things that people say to you, they mean a lot. And those are the things that cycle and cycle through your mind. So when his mother says something like, "You're never going to be loved," that is something that probably stuck with him for decades of his life. And in fact, you can see that in the movie. But I think because you can recognize that he is a person in addiction and a person who has had a lot of, emotional neglect in his life, in his early life, that I think that's a lot more understandable for me. You don't get to know because they're not worth getting to know sometimes, and sometimes you can't understand them from a certain point of view and whatever.
I'm mostly talking about this as a general rule. Like, I think that Rocketman is kind of the best case scenario of this. I think, again, much like Bohemian Rhapsody, do not watch this movie. But The Dirt, which is the music biopic about Motley Crue that came out on Netflix, is, a propaganda piece produced by the artists who, in several cases, were like wildly abusive to women in their life, and it's played off as sort of a minor thing. So like, I think that Elton John, again, I have to commend for being very honest about how he behaved when he was in the throes of addiction. But I think that just like as a general rule, when you have a musical artist's estate involved in a movie about their life, it's a slippery slope to skating over some really, really fucked up behavior.
Yeah. To be fair, I do also think that the fact that he has been through addiction programs probably colors the fact that he's able to tell his story semi-objectively, in the fact completely opposite of whatever he learned, to not take responsibility in telling that story. And I mean, I hate Richard Madden's character. He is such
John
a
Reed.
dick.
Yeah.
He literally says at one point, I'll be collecting my 20% long after you've killed yourself.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't tell you everything that you need to know about that fucking character...
Whether or not he said it or not, I mean, otherwise I'll watch a documentary if I want to know what actually happened. But this is
Yeah.
a dramatized version of
Yeah.
it. And I thought that line really underlines an issue that a lot of these artists go through, which is when you become huge, when you become like this celestial giant, you're going to attract so many satellites. And when he's at that party where he jumps into the pool and has this moment where he tries to kill himself, my next trick, I'm going to kill myself. I love how it portrayed that of he's surrounded by hundreds of people and he has no one.
Yeah.
He has no one in his life, and yet he's surrounded by people that are there to get something from him.
I think another thing is that when you get to that point in the movie where he jumps into the pool,
Beautiful, by the way.
everybody who rescues him is a stranger.
Yeah.
I think that actually says a lot, is that every single person he can't recognize any of them because they're all strangers. They're all people that I guess care about him or just care that he doesn't die because they're partying at his house, but they're the people that rescue him, which is very interesting. And like you said before, Zach, I really love the through line of him and Bernie Taupin's relationship through the movie. It's really special.
It makes you cry.
Yeah.
It does, because we all want that best friend.
Yeah,
you know?
my actually the scene that really highlights their relationship for me is where Bernie's trying to give Elton John advice in the little little hallway behind the stage, telling him what to do. And he's like, hey, you write the lyrics, don't tell me how to do my life. And then he just starts cursing out his best friend, Bernie. And then there's maybe 2 seconds of dead air. And then he just holds his hand and goes, I'm sorry.
He says, I know. Yeah.
That
that's friendship
friendship where they had a
Yeah.
little tiff, boom, they're still together, they're still mates.
Okay, also though, at the very end, he's like, hey, have you been practicing your piano? Have you been playing on the piano or whatever? And Ellen's just like, no, I just don't know if I'm going to be as good as I used to be, And Bernie tells him straight up, and this is the thing about best friends, is that they know you as well as you know you, but they're not scared to tell you what you're scared to tell yourself. And he says, you're just scared to feel again, which is another thing that comes back to addiction programs and just addiction in general, is that for so long you ply yourself with alcohol and drugs just so that you're not feeling those bad things that you're feeling. You're not connecting them the same way. And when you're sober, that shit wrecks you.
Yeah.
Wrecks you so hard. And I can definitely believe that could be a fear of somebody, especially when you're doing something so creative and personal as making music that connects with other people. Because if you connect with other people, you're doing something infinitely personal, right? And so getting back to that place where you're able to do that means that you need to be in touch with your emotions. And being sober and doing that when you for so long have not been sober and been, doing that, it's gonna unlock a lot of shit,
Yeah. And I hate to actually no, I love to bring it up. I'm sorry, I have to do it. I think this movie really made me realize that Rocketman and Baz Luhrmann's new Elvis are two sides of the same coin. One of them ended up truly listening to themselves and the people who actually love them in their life, and it went one way. The other, I won't say who, listened to the wrong people. Talk about that other movie.
Yeah, and I just want to say that we are not going to reveal what we are talking about next week. It could be any movie. So, just go ahead and pause the episode, write down your guess, and see if you're right, because, it's anybody's game at this point.
I have no idea what we're going to be talking about next episode.
Fucking son of a bitch.
It's a mystery to us all.
So, if we're okay with it, I would like to pivot from talking about the real world aspects of Elton John's addiction, and for a moment, I want to talk about how the musical numbers are shot, because I think, at least for me, up until Benny and the Jets for sure. The variety of how those sequences are staged is like really, really fun to watch. I mean, between the like big outdoor musical number when they're performing The Bitch Is Back, when he's going into his first flashback, I think that the way that they use color grading in that is, you know, not subtle, but also it's a movie about fucking Elton John, so like, why be subtle?
Why?
Exactly.
Which I know runs contrary to what I've been talking about, but it's something that I just like to bring up with movies about artists. It is a just like bombastic opening number that's, you know, staged in a really interesting way and color graded in a way that just like really brings you into sort of the, like, for lack of a better term, magical realist aspects of the story.
Glad you brought that up.
I feel like the I Want Love number is framed in a really intimate way where you have all of these characters literally separated into different rooms, all talking about how they need love from one another, but don't feel that connection. I think that, I mean, I could go on and on about Saturday Night's All Right and Crocodile Rock. I mean, I think those might be my two favorite numbers in the entire movie.
They decided to incorporate magical realism into this film. It works so well. If you're going to be doing a biopic, if you're going to dramatize someone like Elton John, why not go glitzy, go glam, be sumptuous and extravagant? Because the movie itself should be a show in its own right. The movie should give you the feeling that you would get if you went to a concert of this person.
Yeah. I think that I love all of that. I do especially really like the moment where he jumps into the pool trying to kill himself. And he has this moment with his inner child, I guess, where he starts to do Rocketman, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was about that specifically that I really loved.
It's beautifully shot.
It was.
Like, I was thinking,
and
how did they shoot this?
And you know, it is difficult to do underwater shots.
Yeah, and he's singing underwater.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that air that they're blowing at him to make it look like it's underwater? I don't think so. Those bubbles look real.
Don't know.
Yeah.
But I really love that scene because everything else is I'm all alone, and who does he connect to in that moment but himself, but his younger self, a more innocent version of him that still had hopes and dreams. Yeah, so I do really enjoy that.
Yet, the song that hit me the hardest, he returns to the piano where it all started. There's no magical realism, there's no extravagant dance number. It's him at the piano figuring out the notes, and it brings everyone in that household, whether they support him or not, Bernie, his grandmother, his mother, his stepfather, Fred, it's like a magnetism. And that's how I felt. I was on the edge of my couch, leaning in, going, "Oh my God, it's your song." And I might be biased because it's my favorite Elton John song. It's my favorite. Seeing him come up with a classic in that moment was just so wonderful, and I love that it was just so clean and genuine.
I'd also like to say that I think the thing that I find so like beautiful about that scene, which
I know what you're going to say.
It's the fact that Elton's not writing the lyrics. The fact that your song is penned from Bernie to Elton.
Yeah.
And Elton is singing it back to
him.
Bernie.
He's pulling an Uno reverse card, and it's it's the most beautiful Uno reverse card ever.
Richard Madden also has a really wonderful voice, I think, other than Taron Egerton and maybe Jamie Bell as well.
Jamie Bell. Love him.
Oh, wonderful. Billy Elliot, sweet boy.
We love you, Jamie.
Sweet boy.
And is Jamie Bell? No, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Jamie Bell is not calling in.
No.
That was
We
a telemarketer.
That's Bryce Dallas Howard. Don't pick
Oh, I'm not picking up.
Okay, cool. So,
Great.
I mean, I love The Bitch Is Back, which is, for me, it's a little bittersweet because it's so faintly used at the very beginning of the movie, and I personally really love that song. It's got a lot of, it's like, I'm sober and I'm back, fuck all y'all, is literally what that song says. So, Yeah, no, I love that song, but your song, like, hearing it, it's magic in the movie. Like, hearing it being made. I think it just really sells the relationship between him and Bernie. It just keeps, like, reinforcing it, you know? Mm-hmm. Especially because in that scene where he kind of, like, you know, is essentially like, oh, I kind of like you, and then there's that rejection, but that acceptance of who he is, and there's this understanding of you make the songs come alive. Like, I write things, but you're the one who makes it come alive, and you get to see that moment of it coming alive, you know? Yes,
I just want to say that the little moment that Jamie Bell has that just sells me on, like, this is the best friend you fucking want, and what you're talking about, him being like, you're making my songs come alive. In the performance of Crocodile Rock, when he's up in the balcony at the Troubadour doing his little dance moves, and then when he points at the stage and goes, yes! Yeah. I just, like, such a wonderful performance, and just, like, so sweet and warm. I agree with everything you're saying. I love that performance so much, and I think that the Your Song moment is, you know, kind of the key to the whole movie. Yeah. But I have to mention his little reactions during Crocodile Rock because they are just delightful.
I think we take for granted that first person who isn't family that actually truly loves you for who you are, even all the shitty stuff that you do. So that every time that you see Bernie come up, you know, obviously he's just trying his best, and maybe his best isn't good enough every time because he's not, you know, like he leaves Elton in that room before Elton tries to commit suicide, right? He's like, okay, girls, let's go get a drink, you know? And then at some point he decides he's going to take a break. And then he comes back and he wants Elton to get better, you know? And we just kind of keep seeing this come back to Bernie kind of being his rock, which speaks to the fact that they wrote together for 50 years?
It's the most sincere collaboration you could think of, where he's in the balcony. That is genuine excitement that he is feeling, seeing his homie kill it. Yeah. Like, he's not faking that. Like, that's that collaboration that they have drives both of them. They both need it.
It's beautiful. It kind of makes me think about that picture of Keegan-Michael Key watching Jordan Peele win the Oscar. Yeah. I mean, just like a delightful moment of cheering for your boy. Yeah. You can't beat it.
Yeah. Are we good on that? Because what else do you want to talk about?
Oh, no, please, go move forward.
Oh.
Take the reins. Okay.
Well, I mean,
good God, Daddy.
The costume design on this film. Yes, I have a note. Yeah. I'm so sorry, but, like, I'm absolutely feral for, like, every outfit that Elton John wears in this. Like, every time I see his platform boots, like a new form of platform boots in this movie, I'm just like, yes, absolutely, 100%, I'm here for this. The very first costume that he wears for the Troubadour. Sweet Jesus, I want that outfit.
You would look good in that outfit.
I know I would. Yeah. That's why I want it.
That's great, yeah.
I mean, it just, all in all, Elton John, immaculate. I think I did actually go to the thrift store the other day with my friend Kat, and there was like a whole thing of sunglasses. And just in general, she lives in Colorado, so she's like very laid back. She wears like, you know, t-shirt and like pants, jeans, you know.
I believe we call that lumberjack chic.
As a fellow Oregon boy, I can confirm that is lumberjack chic.
Indeed. Coming from Fresno, I definitely, like, the things that I wear, I don't quite fit in Fresno, but I definitely feel in my space in LA for sure. And I feel like I've gotten to kind of play with shit a lot more. And you know what? Rocketman makes me really excited to play a lot more. You know?
We should end on that. That's a line. Wow. Wow.
Real quick, do we want to run through our favorite Elton John fits in this film?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay, well, great. Does someone want to start?
Okay, well, I already started.
Yeah, you
because
did already
I
start.
did the troubadour. Oh, wait. Am I going to say yours, though? Because it's the outfit right after. Is that your favorite?
I'm not sure. What are you going to say?
It's the one that he wears to Mama Cass's house.
Oh, that is a great fucking outfit.
I
His
literally want
coat
to
with all the
remake.
pins.
Yeah, no, it's patches. They're patches.
Oh, the jean jacket
The
one?
jean jacket with patches.
With the cherries on it?
I've
Yeah.
got a whole bunch of patches
Let's do some
in
stitching.
my room, but I don't have a jean jacket, and I need to get one. I lost my jean jacket.
Oh, I took Mick out shopping. I'll take you out shopping too.
hell yeah,
I'm real good
please
at
do.
that. I can spend other people's money, no problem.
She's very good at it.
And she just slapped it on the table,
She
ladies
did.
and gentlemen.
That was her dick.
Oh my
Jesus
god!
Christ.
Alexis's dick threw my mic completely out of whack for a
Wow.
second. That's one of the heaviest cocks I've ever seen, and I've seen a few.
We've seen the movie X.
Yes, that's true.
We've seen Kid Cudi's cock.
Spoilers
That's
for
saying
a film that maybe we won't cover in full, but we'll probably mention during
I'm so
spooky season.
surprised that it doesn't have its own IMDb profile. Sorry.
Kid Cudi's girthy cock. Yeah, that's. I think that. Yeah, I don't know. It was a day player. It didn't have any lines, so maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't get like.
Its lines got cut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it would have talked.
Made a
I felt
squashing
it.
sound.
I felt it speaking. For sure.
It spoke to all of us. Spoke
Yeah.
to something. in
Okay,
everyone.
but wait. So was that your choice, though? Was that your choice? The jean jacket with the patches. What was your favorite outfit?
That probably would be my choice, but I'm gonna say honorable mention to his big fluffy white fur coat
Amazing.
that
Oh,
appears
yes.
during the Honky Cat number because I don't think I could pull
good.
that off, but Lord knows I'd love to try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What about you, Mickey boy?
Unfortunately, I do not remember the song that this outfit.
Describe it. I'll tell you.
Well, it's a scene where he has his moment with Jamie Bell, where they apologize to each other really quickly. It's
Oh,
the
so he's wearing the
super
full
Pinball
headdress.
Wizard.
extravagant. It's Pinball Wizard. Thank you.
Okay.
The super extravagant sequin feather getup. I remember watching that, thinking, "Good God." Can I read you what my final note was in the film?
What?
I think you'll agree with this first part. The ending, while admittedly corny, feels so genuine and necessary. Him hugging his child self, telling his corrupted parents to stop. This was a story of how he survived, the feelings that exist within each note of his songs. A dramatized love letter to how, despite everything and because of everything, he's still standing,
Yeah.
which is the last song of the movie.
I can wait to talk about our next movie. In many ways, I'm dreading it, and I think that this is possibly a good place to transition out of talking about Rocketman and say what we're going to be talking about next week, which is Baz Luhrmann's 2022 film Elvis. And watch Elvis on HBO Max, and send us your thoughts, because we now have social media and an email.
Congrats.
So, yeah, no, I did that. I set that all up.
Well done.
Pat
Thank
us all on
you.
the back here.
Thank
If
you.
you're looking
Could
for
someone...
trouble, go ahead and find us and follow us on Instagram.
Yes, on Instagram and on Twitter, we are Film Majors Pod. And if you'd like to send us an email, tell us your thoughts about what we've talked about, or
What's our email?
drop us a suggestion about what you would like us to discuss next. Our email is also filmmajorspod@gmail.com.
There we go.
If I can dream, you'll do it.
I hate this already.